What if you had someone that you could ask all of your crochet questions to? Everything from why is my gauge not working to how do I become a pattern designer? That's one of the things I want to do here on the Morning Hook. So, good morning, everyone. It's Karen, and welcome to the Morning Hook. I'm your host. I'm here every Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. And I'm so glad you're here. I hope everybody's having a great week. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about what I want to do starting in August. And today's kind of the first day of doing this. But what I'd like to do is every Friday in August, going forward, August, September, all the way through, is have a Q&A day. And in order to do that, I have set up a special page here called from SpeakPipe where you can actually record your voice asking me a question. You can be anonymous. You don't have to be, um, give me your name. But I want to answer your crochet questions. And I'd like to have at least one every Friday, starting the first Friday in August. So I'm going to put that back up here while I'm talking. But I hope everybody who's here has a question for me. Go ahead and put it in the chat. There's Linda's here. Good morning, Linda. Thanks for being here. And hi, Carlene. Good morning. It's good to see you guys here. You guys are kind of my usual people. So do you guys have any questions for me? Anything crochet related? Anything that you've always wondered about the industry? Anything like that? For me, it's been a wild ride the last few years. The industry has changed so much. One of the things I have discovered over the last few weeks, I'm doing a presentation on publishing in crochet. And one of the things that I realized as I was writing, my outline and starting to put the script together for the presentation and all the slides, the industry has changed over the last 30 years, 28 years. I started designing in 1998. Sorry. I was still in college in 89. I started in 1998, and back then, the industry was a totally different place. I was actually submitting maybe 4 to 6 patterns a year to magazines, maybe, and designing maybe 3 to 4 of them a year. My business, I had a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old when my first pattern was picked up for production. And that was exciting to me because it was even though it was a small amount of money, it was something I felt like I was contributing a little bit to the household outside of being a mom. Mom is always the first thing, always. But it was kind of exciting too. So, but one of the things I realized is back then they bought the pattern in 1998, and in 2000 it was actually published. So it was this long production schedule. Plus, there was no such thing as PDF patterns. So anything I didn't sell to a magazine, I would create myself, and people would buy on my website in print, and I would ship a printed pattern to them with a photograph. I don't know how many of you remember when we used to use film cameras to take pictures of our stuff. We'd print the pictures and we'd glue them onto the cardstock. That was me. And then when photo paper came into play, I started using photo paper instead of printing film when digital cameras started. But it's like the whole industry. So the questions out there are vast because for me, everything has changed. In fact, I don't submit to patterns to magazines anymore. And the whole process is different than what I'm used to. So I had to learn a little bit more compared to what it used to be back in like even 2010. So, okay. So Carlene has a question for me. How do you schedule your crochet and business work time, methods, tools? That's a really good question. For me, So first of all, I live by my calendar. I have a Google Calendar I share with my husband. When my kids were at home, we had calendars for everybody plus a family calendar in Google that we all shared so that we all knew what was going on in everybody's lives. Now it's just me and my husband. But so I live by my Google Calendar. That's where all of the big things happen. But I also have a paper calendar here. It's buried right now because I have my presentation sitting on top of it, and I don't want to rustle papers. That is what I use day to day because it has a weekly planner in it, and I can see everything for this week. So that's the schedule part of it. And then when it comes to design work and to what I'm doing, like teaching classes and stuff like that, um, again, it's mostly done on paper at this point. I'm looking for a different digital way of planning things. I use my paper planner that has a lot of notes. So when something's due, I always have my dates in there, and I do have a special Google Business Calendar that has like my teaching dates and when I'm traveling and all that. So my husband knows when I will be in and out of town and all of that. But scheduling, designing, and teaching and all of that it's kind of like balancing plates and spinning plates. And there are days where everything's going well and the plates are all spinning really, really well and they're balancing fine. And then there are days, whether I get sick or something happens in the family, because family comes first, regardless of what happens. And the plates start tumbling down. The nice thing is that I work for myself. So if I need to push a pattern design that I'm publishing out, I can. If the only thing I can't change is when I am under contract. And the only times I'm under contract these days is when I'm teaching. So like going to Memphis later this month, that is a contract. There's nothing I can do. Even if have the sniffles, I still need to go, that kind of thing. Or it's just not feeling that great. I do have to go. I'm under contract. Unless something dire is happening. I'm in the hospital or, that kind of thing. Or somebody in my family died. And that has happened to me in the past. When my mom passed away, I had to cancel a teaching engagement. But I can't even tell you. It's, everybody says, Karen, you're so organized. And that's because I have double checks and triple checks between digital and my printed stuff. And I have a reminders app that every morning, that's the first thing I pull up on my computer is like what's coming up over the next week. So and then I break everything down. So like the presentation I'm doing in Memphis, I break it down into parts and say, by this date, I need this done. And by this date, I need that done. I'm a list. I love checking things off lists. I'm a list maker. So I just check things off of a list. That's very satisfying for me. That's just the way my brain works. So that's kind of my methods. It's for some people that might be too organized. For other people, it might not be organized enough. And like I said, I'm trying to find another digital outside of the reminders app on Apple products, because I do need something that I can see like 3 weeks in advance, so I can see the progression of how things have to go. But that's just me. I used to work in the corporate world before kids. I was my official title was a system support engineer. I used to write software for dental offices, and I used to troubleshoot software and hardware for dental offices. And I used to write documentation for our software and our hardware. So I kind of have that technical brain. So I need something that kind of works that way. So that's me. So that's me. That's who I am, how I handle things. And because I have a business background, it's crazy. You have more GK restaurant type plates crashing than not. Yeah, there are days that I feel like my yesterday was one of those days. I felt like a couple things crashed that shouldn't have crashed, but they were things that I had set deadlines for, and it's not anything that was affecting other things. So That happens. And yes, like a project management app. I've tried Asana, I've tried Trello, I've tried ClickUp. I'm playing with Notion right now, and Notion actually kind of works the way my brain does. So that might be something I'm going to do. I used to write databases. That was part of the software we did for dental offices. So since Notion is based on databases, and that's what my degree is in, it's management information system, which is basically writing databases for businesses to make it more plain. That might be my new tool. I don't know. I mean, I have done things in Notion before, but I never really used it for project management. So I'm kind of playing with it, and we'll see how it goes. Okay. Anybody else have a question? Anything you want to ask me about crochet? Someone asked me today, or not today, but in an email that I read today. Now I can't talk. Someone asked me today about personal projects in an email, and it's like, I am doing that blanket for myself that you guys saw yesterday, but really lately, that's the first thing I've done for myself in probably 6 months, and I just started it like a little over a month ago. So, and now it's going to be something I do every month. That's just kind of a personal project. As far as crochet is concerned, there's other things I do, to take walks, exercise, do, that kind of thing. But for crocheting, I haven't done a whole lot. I did knit my grandson a sweater for his birthday. So there was that as a personal project. Okay. Oh yes. Like smash plates at a Greek restaurant. I understand now. Okay. Yeah. That's, yeah. Italians do that too, believe it or not. Yeah. And so, sometimes you just have to kind of think about the plates are always spinning, and especially when you own your own business and you're a sole proprietor, basically. I'm a sole proprietor. I have a few freelancers that work for me that do photography, that do layout, that do tech editing, but that's so difficult. It's hard to estimate how long a project. Yes. And, and that's the one thing over 28 years of doing this. Especially being a mom when I first started and having kids so young, is that now that I'm older, I know, okay, I can crochet a pair of socks in 2 days. I can crochet one sock in one day, one sock in another, as long as the design is figured out. It might take 3 days if I'm working on something that's just not working right. A shawl takes me a week to crochet. I know that, but I also have to build in some flexibility because you never know. My dad is still alive. He's going to be 91. Anything could happen. He's doing well right now, but you never know. And I live 900 miles away, not 600, 900 miles away. So, I have to build in some structure into that. The only thing that I struggle with is when I'm teaching like at a large event with my dad, because I have to make sure my contract states in there act of God. Like if my dad dies, because the experience I had with my mom passing away and the organization who I was supposed to teach for, they were going to bill me for every student who signed up for my classes, that they had to refund the money, and I had to get an attorney involved. Honestly. So it's the family, again, family comes first. And that's where I struggle right now. I love my dad. I don't want anything to happen to him, but it's a struggle right now. It's at his age. So, yeah. And then I also have a mother-in-law who's going to be 89 this year. So, yeah. So, you never know what's going to go on, plus I have 2 kids that are adults and living on their own. You never know when they're going to need you. So, oh, yes, 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 I did. That ended. I mean, you're dealing with the death of your mother, and someone is just taking advantage of you. That's just not okay. So, anyway, that's another story for another day. But I think I like to think that my mom was looking down on me at that moment and really helps the whole situation work properly. So that's the way I look at it. That was my mom's doing. Anyway, yeah. So those are things when you work for yourself, you have to think about that. When I was working for a corporation, they dealt with all the crazy things, and um, now that I work for myself, it's like I have to deal with it, and I'm very lucky. I am. I am I don't even know how to say it. My best friend is an attorney. Even though she's not a complete contract attorney, she knows enough to be able to read a contract and help me through it. So she's my attorney. She's the one who helped me through it. So I was really excited that she was able to do that. Have I been targeted by AI? That's a good question. What do you mean by targeted? I haven't been targeted by AI. AI hasn't come after me or said negative things about me that I know of. But what do you mean by targeted by AI? Are you maybe talking about my patterns being picked up? I don't know because I try to stay. I mean, I do use AI a little bit to help me complete outlines, or when I'm trying to schedule something, I do say these are the things I have to do, and I need to get them all done by this date. Help me figure out how to having my that I don't know. And nobody usually when somebody sees one of my patterns stolen, um, I get notified. I haven't been notified about AI doing it. I have in other ways, but you know what? That might be something that I should look into because I just haven't had time. I haven't had anybody take anything recently and try to resell it that I know of. I need to keep an eye on that. There's just been so much going on in the last few weeks that I haven't really looked at it. But when I was doing a lot of design work for Annie's Attic, my leaflets that they sold were constantly being picked up by scammers. This was before AI was really a big thing, picking up by scammers and being resold. And unfortunately for me, fortunately for me, I should say, I would get notified because my name is on the leaflet, but all I had to do was let Annie's know, and I was really good at friends with my editor back then. She's no longer with Annie; she retired. But I could just say, "Hey, Connie, this is going on. Here's the link," and she would get the company on it, and the company would get it all shaken out. So, yeah, I haven't had that problem. That's an issue. I just saw somebody on YouTube. I can't remember who it was now off the top of my head that had an issue with scammers. Even on Etsy, I saw somebody just recently saying that someone on Etsy swiped everything, images and everything, and resold stuff. Well, I've seen more designers than ever embroiled it's difficult because I don't even know how to even start this. The intellectual property has been so undermanaged I'm not one for total government regulations, but I think that intellectual property doesn't have enough people and enough laws around it. The Copyright Office has done a lot, but when it comes to the international stuff, and I think that's where the internet has been a big issue. Well, okay, Linda, with this one, you'll see patterns of mine on Annie's a lot. Annie's doesn't steal. Annie's has a catalog program where designers can actually submit designs to be sold in their catalog. And I can tell you for a fact, Andrea had to have put in her patterns. That's not a scam. I can tell you that right now. Because I've been selling my patterns on Annie's for years. When I stopped designing for them, I started putting my personal patterns in there. So that's not a scam. A scam is more of, you see an Etsy seller selling something that I designed. I'm going to use myself. So if you're on Etsy and you see, because I do not have an Etsy store. I do buy things on Etsy, but I do not have an Etsy store. If you see one of my patterns on Etsy, someone's scamming you. eBay. eBay is a big scam area. There's a lot of international message boards where you have all these. This is where Annie's had an issue when I was doing leaflets for them. They would have these international message boards, kind of like the old days where you could get on and log in and chat with people on a message board. But you had a lot of hoops to get through to actually be a part of this message board. And then you had access to all these leaflets and patterns that people would just upload. That has always been an issue. I've worked with the Copyright Office on several things. There's a reason why my patterns at the bottom say that you cannot make items for resale, because that covers me for those international people who buy people's patterns and then mass produce them and sell the finished product and make tons of money. So there's a lot of that going on. I don't know how prevalent it is now, but about 5 years ago, it was really prevalent. There were a lot of designers who were fighting people mass producing their patterns. Yes, that Etsy is a big problem. Etsy is a big problem. And we have to fight that. If you see any of mine, that's my first thing I tell everybody. If you see any of my patterns and Etsy, eBay, any place other than Ravelry, Annie's, or my website, oh, and Lovecrafts. I have 4 places. Annie's only has like 4 of my patterns. Ravelry, only because I'm selling to the local. My big thing is for the local yarn shops to be able to purchase my patterns in a way that's easy for them. And my website, and then Lovecrafts. And Lovecrafts is more for international. Those are the 4 places I sell my patterns. If you see them anywhere else, let me know. Copyrights is a big issue. I know there's a lot of designers out there. There's actually a copyright attorney that that does a lot of fiber art stuff. She's in various places for all of us designers. But for me, I go straight to the Copyright Office when there's an issue or a question I have. So the way I run my business and the way I deal with my copyright is been cleared through the Copyright Office. That's how I do things. So anyway, any other questions, guys? Before I go, you guys got me talking for quite a while. So so anything else you guys have questions? But yeah, if you see mine or anybody else's, it's not just me. I'm talking about any crocheter that you have a question. I get them all the time. One of the things too I should mention is my books. I got a question not too long ago from another designer saying she saw my books all on Hoopla through her library. That is a valid place. Because I have put my books into a system that distributes to libraries. So Hoopla, Everand, all of those places that do digital books for libraries, that's okay too. So just so you guys know, there are some valid places, and Everand and Hoopla are 2 of them. So yeah. there's pros and cons to some of this, in the fact that is, as long as the pattern's intact, my pattern's intact, if someone is giving my pattern away for free, and it depends on who it is. If they're making money on it, then no. But if someone one of the things is sometimes you get your pattern in someone's hands, and then they start buying from you. So there's very limited, very, very limited ways of me when I would go after somebody. If it's just a one-time thing, like let's say somebody buys a pattern from me and shares it with a friend, and then that friend starts buying from me, I'm not going to fight with that person about it for the one-time thing. But you should not do that. That is illegal. And, most designers would try to find a way to fight that. So, yeah. The industry has changed so much when it comes to that kind of thing. And it's just crazy. And Linda, I appreciate that you try to buy from the designer as much as possible. That is what we all want. I mean, that's why, even though I am revamping my website and I'm moving in a different direction, at first I was thinking that I was going to take my patterns off of my website and only sell on Ravelry and Love Crafts. But I decided that I really need to have them on my website, because that is where I have the most control. And writing this presentation that I'm doing, that is where I have the most control. Ravelry, the only reason why I use Ravelry is for the in-store purchases, because doing wholesale yourself is just not easy. I mean, my books are prime instance in that. So allowing my shops to be able to buy them on Ravelry is a big thing. And that's the only reason why I have them there. Now, other people will buy them because there's no way to separate it. You can't just have a yarn shop. Although there have been some issues with Ravelry lately. A lot of people don't use it, first of all, but there's also been no updates on that website for I don't know how long. So I don't know what's happening over there. Honestly, I really don't. So I've just been hearing some scuttlebutt here and there from people, but I don't know what's true and what's not. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But that my website is the only place that I can say my patterns will always be there as long as there is a Karen Whooley Designs website. Because you never know when, who knows, somebody may buy Ravelry someday and shut it down or change the whole program, and it's not as lucrative for designers, even if with the yarn shop things. Or even same thing with Lovecraft. Lovecraft was bought out, the American side of it, I believe. I can't remember all of it, but Lovecraft was bought by the people, or Lovecraft's bought Webs. Sorry, it's the other way around. Lovecraft's bought Webs. So that changes things. They're changing their website. I am leaving my patterns there for now, but we'll see what happens. And I use Lovecraft's because it's an international website. So you never know. You never know. The only thing that you can absolutely 100% trust is what you own. And my website is something that I own. Anyway, okay. So it's almost time for me to go here. So thanks for being here. If you're watching after the fact, make sure you like and subscribe and hit the bell. And that way you'll know when I go live. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing another show on, it's going to be kind of a free-for-all. Basically, you can ask me all the questions, or you can say, hey, can you tell me about this topic? Whether it's, Italian lace or how to get gauge or whatever. Only because it's a holiday weekend, and I know all of our brains are probably, those of you who are in the US are probably excited about celebrating the 4th of July in 250 years. And no matter what, it's still a holiday weekend, and I know my brain's going to start shutting down a little bit. So this way we can chat about whatever. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific time. And until then, have a great rest of your Thursday, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye, y'all.